Thanks.
And I'll give you the stage. Good luck. Have
thank
fun.
you very much. And thank you for being here. I believe I'm the only speaker here on bicycle, which is nothing special because it was only 15 minutes. You're here on bicycle and you're speaking. Yeah. I'm not the only one. How far was it for you?
20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay. So, as I said, nothing special because it wasn't all that far. Why am I here? I am here to talk about things that can go wrong. You know, I was just thinking that a lot of conferences, and I do go to quite a few conferences, seems like they're all success stories. Although the last one was a bit, she said, maybe we are going to cry. But many times it feels like everything is succeeding, and in my opinion, well, that's not. And that's what I'm going to talk about a story that, in my opinion, failed. And I hope that you can also learn something about it. I did. And without further ado, let me continue. First thing is, who am I and why am I here? Well, as you can see, I'm Jacob Duizer, live in Vught, just 15 minutes on bicycle from here. I'm working as an IT consultant, currently as an engineering manager for a company called BIM Collab. I'm a Team Topologies advocate, better value sooner, safer, happier advocate. And my story is kind of funny because I started at an organization as a DevOps engineer. And I've been thinking about what happened, and that's something I've been thinking about on every job I have, because it seems like I just cannot say no or that's impossible. And I was thinking about one story. I did some volunteering work in Africa as a computer teacher, let me say, for people with disabilities. And the problem was we wanted to change the lives of these people, to make them really autonomous in whatever they did. But we had one of our colleagues living on top of the hill in a wheelchair, and every afternoon our brother has to come back and push her back to go because he could not climb the hill. And then somebody asked me that, well, we have these motorcycles, these small motorcycles. Can we make a tricycle? I say, yes, I can do that. I've never welded in my life, but I think I can do that. And that's somehow how I operate. I always say, yes, nothing is impossible, I'll do. And sometimes that fails, and sometimes that succeeds. Actually, the trike failed. But that was version 1. I went back to Nigeria. That was in Nigeria, by the way. I went back after 2 years, and I went into the bush on a motorcycle, and I saw that same lady which brought us the idea on a tricycle, smiling at me, very happy. And I thought, yeah, well, sometimes you just have to take the leap and see what happens, and other people will go further with your story and continue. And hopefully that's also something what happened here. But let me start with the journey. As I said, I started with an organization as a DevOps engineer, and the story was, we are having clusters in Kubernetes, and the engineering teams just don't know how to use it. I said, okay, that's interesting. I can come and help as kind of a DevOps coach. And on the first day when I came there were no clusters. So there was not really anything to do for me, and I had to find work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have kind of a retrospective from there, but before that I will just explain what happened and what we tried. And as I said, we came on a roadblock. There was just no work for me, and I had to find out, what am I going to do? And the first, I have to go fast, I think. I just had to find out, what am I going to do here, and find other things. That's what I was right now. So what I did is, I just started talking with a lot of people in the organization, and especially with somebody called Flores, who's sitting right there, called himself not an architect, but I think he was kind of an architect. The picture is not really resembling him. And we were just having discussions, weekly discussions about, well, what can I do, where can I help? And then we somehow got into a conversation about developer experience, team topologies, DevOps, all kind of stuff which we were interested on. And we said, well, while we are waiting for clusters, maybe you can do something about it. And we started with a very small initiative saying, we are going to have a meeting with all the developers, and we are putting one line on the screen. In 1 year's time, we are delivering software to production in 1 minute. And people were, that's impossible. Well, interesting, why is it impossible? And that's how we kind of started to try and change the organization. At the same point, the organization itself was at a kind of a switch. They had to switch from building everything themselves into working together with another IT organization. And we thought, well, the way how they are working right now, the speed with what they are delivering value right now, that's not going to work. We have to do something there. We need to change this organization. And we both read the book, Team Topologies. I don't know who read it first, either Floris or me, but we really thought we can do something here, change the organization. But how are we going to start? And we started talking about with other people. There were some business events with all people together. We have some talks about how could our organization look like in the future. Value stream teams. What is a value stream team? What is a platform? What are all these things? I just want to go one step back, because I think I'm going too fast. I forgot one thing. We really had some struggles also, and that's really where the last talk really comes into this in my story. We had a platform team who was not really acting as a platform team. They were building stuff and they were just shouting, why is nobody using our software? Because people they were not interested. They were doing the wrong things. And we had a lot of conversations about we should really rebuild this platform team, but somehow it just didn't work out. And well, we thought maybe we start somewhere else, not from the platform, but from somewhere else. As I said, a lot of conversations. One of the first things we did, we put on the line, did this big statement on the line, we are going to deliver software in 1 minute. And then we got into the whole Accelerate book and Dora and all the capabilities. I hope you all read the book, so I'm not going to explain everything. But what we did is all these capabilities, we just kept in conversation with teams. What are your biggest bottlenecks? How's your culture? How is your delivery? Do you measure anything? And stuff like that. And that's how we somehow fill our time with this goal. Next year, we are going to do things differently. We had some offsite talks, people really getting interested, and especially Floris, again, as an architect, he did a lot of event storming, and he already had a vision about this is how the company should look like. We were not always fully agreeing with each other, but at least we thought we should have a good platform team. We should have value stream teams. We have some complex things going on, machine learning things, and we really had an idea that this is how the company should look like. But how do we get the people on board? So we started talking again, explaining that, look, this is how the organization should look like, that is what we think. We did a book club about Team Topologies, so we read the book together, we had a lot of discussions, and then finally we said, let's have some product owners on every value stream team, on every team, and let them sell their team. Just tell the developers, look, this is what this team is going to do, and tell us which team do you want to work for. Which took quite a while, but we really gave the people the autonomy to choose in which team they wanted to work. Which they were really scary in the beginning, because they had been working together for like 3 years, and they were like, wow, we are so much, we are almost friends, and we don't want to do that. But finally they had the idea, but they really had a choice to do things they really like. And it's not about having friends in your team, but it's also to, well, for like the next 3 years, this is what you are going to do. And people had the choice to do whatever they wanted to do. I think only 2 people chose a team where we could not place them, for reasons like being our domain language is Dutch and they don't speak Dutch, so maybe that just didn't work out. We convinced them that maybe you learn Dutch for a year and maybe next year you see again. So only 2 people were in other teams, but they were still happy. And that's somehow how we started transforming into a Team Topologies kind of inspired organization. Already mentioned this, so I will skip. One of the stories I really liked, and one of the things I'm still proud of, is a very small thing. When I started in the organization, everybody was talking about the business. And I was new, so I asked the question, what is the business? It sounds like a black box or the boogeyman, or it really sounded like you're scared for it. And nobody could give me a good answer, because it's just the business. It's no problem. We are using SAFe. You are in a development team. You don't need to. And then I just posted one quote from Sooner Safer Happier on Slack, saying it's not the business, it's our business. And what happened is people started talking about it a little bit, and then somebody in the meeting said it's the business. I heard it this morning, and I was almost about to, it's our business, but I didn't. But that's what happened in the company. People were just saying, no, it's not the business, it's our business. And it seems a very small thing, but it's really a change, thinking about it's not a black box, it's not a boogeyman, it's not, we should work together on value. And not seeing, well, you say what we do, and I don't even know you, but I will just build it and throw it to product owners and whatever. Just a small thing, how we started to think about the business. The new teams gradually started. We didn't do a big bang. We just gradually moved teams into new structures and trying to work together and stuff like that. And then I got a very big opportunity to start an enabling team. I was already doing some coaching, like one-on-one coaching and doing some agile coaching and just coaching on everything I thought people needed help on. And I just said, well, I think we should start an enabling team. And it was a very small team. Actually, most of the time it was a one-person team, which was me. But what we did, and it was nice, I'm not saying you should do that, but it was nice, all new people started in the enabling team. And they just got along with me around the teams, see what the teams were doing, so they got a chance to see, well, maybe I want to try this team, and then they could try a team and see if they really wanted to be in that team or not, and which was an interesting way to get them into the organization. But I rather had a bigger enabling team with some other people, but that didn't work out in the beginning. And as an enabling team, I did just everything from coaching teams, coaching one-on-one, giving trainings on domain-driven design, test-driven design, just anything I could think of. With real focus, one of my, I should say one of the things I'm really interested about, and that was this morning, I said, well, I found my new job description, Inspiration as a Service, which is here, and I think it's a great quote. That's something I really like to do, just focus on, let's learn together, let's keep improving, and that's what I got to do within the enabling team, while I was still waiting on Kubernetes. We also thought about we should focus on some things, and focus is something that's very difficult for me. I cannot just commit myself to do something for a quarter and then take a new subject. But some people were willing to help me, and we said, well, our first quarter is going to be about measurement, and we called it something in English, which is Dutch translation. But let me say the truth is in the numbers, and we had a whole plan. What we are going to do is we're going to do something called evidence-based management. And evidence-based management is coming from Scrum, but it's a really interesting framework where you work about long-time goals, intermediate goals, and immediate tactical goals, and thinking about how am I going to bring value into my customers, focusing on a lot of different things. And they are really good together with OKRs, which are called outcome and key results, and not objectives and key results, but that's another topic. So quarterly teams, we also had a plan, okay, after this number thing on training and OKRs and delivering value and having conversations with our customers on what is a value and what are you expect. We had topics like security, flexible architecture, which is kind of a cloud migration thing. But then, still waiting for these clusters. Things happened. We really got, in my opinion, and of course this is my story, right, and my view on the story, but in my opinion we really entered the danger zone here. And I don't know if you ever read, oh, should go back, Winning the Wiring Organization, but the danger zone is really an area where you don't want to be, and there are thoughts of how to get there, but anything. What happened? Senior leadership changes. So out of a sudden, for me, maybe not for everybody, but for me something happened. The new people came in, Flores decided to leave, the quarterly teams got cancelled suddenly. We have to deliver value. We are just pressuring. We are pushing on this changes we need to do. Gemba walks. Do I need to explain Gemba walks? Is there anybody who does not know what a Gemba walk is? Then I will explain it very shortly. Gemba walks is coming from the lean movement and is from the Toyota Kata thing. Gemba means where the work actually happens. And what you do is with senior leadership, you go around asking, where are your bottlenecks? Not with the mind of, let's do quick fixes, no, but really understanding what's happening. How can we improve your organization? And we had a plan to go around with some people to all the teams just on a bi-weekly stanza, just to ask them, what is your biggest problem? How can we help you? Showing them that we were willing to listen. But senior leadership once very suddenly said, no, we are not going to do that. That's nonsense. Let's cancel that. I had plans because I thought I'm still a one-person enabling team and I want to have a project kind of minded person in it and maybe an architectural kind of mind. And we had really planned we were going to increase this and we just pitched it to management. Management said, no, we don't have budget. In fact, your budget got cancelled, your enabling team is cancelled. We want you to go to the platform team and do something with cloud, enabling cloud migration and stuff. So that's what I did. I went to the platform team where they were still struggling, and I'm talking about 2.5 years later, still struggling on developing something with Kubernetes. And I thought, I'm going a bit fast right now. I thought that's interesting because maybe this platform team is something where we should try and change and do it all over again. So I was really happy to do that. But it turned out after 3 months they said, well, you go and we go our own way, and that's somehow how my story ended here. But I have been thinking about this because, as I said, I don't believe in things like saying it's impossible. And I still really had a hard time. And now Chris, one of my colleagues, is saying there, and I had a lot of conversation with him because it felt like I lost. I did something wrong. I don't know what, but I could have done more. I'm still not convinced that I couldn't have, but I think there are some learnings here on which I just want to share, and maybe afterwards you can tell me if I did a bad job or not, or I should have tried different things. By the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some patterns, some anti-patterns, just tell some stories about what we tried, what worked, what didn't work, and I will not end with a very down story. I will also show some things that really worked. I'm going to name anti-patterns coming from Sooner, Safer, Happier. Did anybody not read that book? There's some work to do, guys. Some work to do. Because it's really an interesting book. If you read Team Topologies and Sooner, Safer, Happier together, it's really powerful to see what and I don't know if you ever saw a talk of John Smart, but he's really good in explaining his thoughts, and it's really worth reading and watching him. Anyway, some of the patterns and some of the anti-patterns that he is describing, I just want to have a conversation about that in combination with my story. First thing, and I have some green checks on which I think, well, we did something good there, and I have some red crosses where I think, well, that didn't go well at all. But to start with why, I think we really did that right. We really had the idea that if we are going to continue with a organization like this, that's going to fail, that's not going to work. And start with why is not on why agile, why safe, why lean, why whatever, but why do we exist as an organization? Where is our value? How are we going to change our organization so we can really focus on the value? And I think we did that by explaining people why we changed, getting them on board on the change and things like that. Same thing with the empower the how, right? Like I said, people really giving the autonomy to choose on what value stream do you want to work, or on what platform team. Well, the platform team was out of the discussion, by the way. But on what value streams do you want to work? So we really help them focusing on this area. The enabling team is also a way of empowering the how are we going to change. So we started a lot of things. Way of working, community of practices, which is kind of an enabling team. All kind of coaching, started small communities like Scrum Masters, front-end developers, back-end developers, product owners. We all try to combine them and learn stuff to see how they do that. I think I said it one time, and I hope I can only say it one more time. I'm not going to get into a rant about safe. But an organization that is struggling with like one team was working for 1 year to put something in production and they didn't release anything, I cannot imagine how you are going to scale your agile way of working while you cannot even deliver one line of code into production. And as a Team Topology advocate, I also have conversations with other companies, and sometimes I do workshops, and I had another company which were explaining, well, we are really struggling with our teams. They don't know how to work agile. They just cannot deliver anything. They really struggle. And by the way, we just started SAFe. What? Now I said it 3 times. Sorry. I will not do that again.
We'll get you to 10.
Sorry?
We'll get you to 10. That's about SAFe.
Focus on outcomes. I see I have to go a bit faster. As I said, we try to focus on outcomes, on key results, on stuff like that, but somehow we just didn't get it to work. We didn't get people on board. They were so much focused. And this is something interesting. I know you all recognize this. I have been talking about these clusters for a few times. And in the beginning, both Floris and me, we had some serious conversations with management. And sometimes I really went to their office with wobbly knees, which is really a bad sign. But I thought, well, I'm a consultant, and if they fire me, I don't care. But just telling them that how is it possible that a platform team cannot deliver anything within 2 years, and you feel like you've just been sent out to see the headmaster? That's really bad. And I can tell a lot of stories about this, but I think this is one of the biggest reasons that we failed at the end, because we just couldn't give good feedback about what we think was going wrong. Well, this is a bit going hand in hand, I guess. Leaders go first, and I'm following John Smart on LinkedIn, and one time he shared a quote about a leader that's really visible, and you follow him along and you see he's doing the right things. And I was just asking some people for fun, if I show you this quote, whom are you thinking about? And I think this is a big shout out to Floris, because many people mentioned Floris, who already left the company by that time. They didn't see leadership at all. They were like invisible, which is not really helpful if you need change. Although I heard this morning that's a good thing, because you can just skip the whole part of that, but I don't know how that worked out. Well, this is I'm not going to explain this. This is like different naming, and it's one of the anti-patterns of it, but named in the Team Topology book also, right? Like doing same shit, different day. Give teams another name, call it a value stream team, but you're just doing the same thing. Somehow we didn't work well on that. Communicate. Also going hand in hand with the one before, like we lost the speed of migrating into a Team Topologies kind of thinking, and people were just doing the same thing, and we focused on other things. As I said, one of my weak points is really finishing things. Achieve big through small, which is also very interesting, right? Well, how is it possible that you are taking 2.5 years to do something with clusters? Why not start small and do something there? A team that's doing a redesign of an application and taking 1.5 years before they have put anything in production, that's not achieve big through small. And we try to change, but that's really hard, and it takes time, and we didn't get the time because, well, they said goodbye to me already. Invite over inflict, finding people you really want to work with, getting people on board on the whole organizational change is very important, and I think within the few minutes I am going to go a bit faster. I already said this, one of my weak points. We had so many ideas. We did this, but we didn't really take time to finish it, because also we felt the pressure of we needed to deliver things, and well, I think if you do a transformation like this, you really should focus on start small, finish it, next initiative, continue, and really make a roadmap for like maybe 2 years to really change and not rush things, which we kind of tried. And one of the biggest anti-patterns, grassroots hits a glass ceiling. You know, it was really a bottom-up idea. We were just convincing management to do this, and it's like they said, if you think it works, go ahead, but they were not on board. And in my opinion, that's one of the biggest things why we failed. And I have been doing a lot of book clubs with my colleagues, and every time we get into this, we are just mere developers, or we are just product owners. How do we get on board with leadership? And I don't have an answer, and I hope the next speaker sitting there, in the next talk is going to give me some insights. So probably if you want an answer on how do we get a real connection between leadership and the development teams, stick around for the next talk. But I think that's why it went wrong. So why this list? Well, this is just coming straight from the Sooner, Safer, Happier book. I mixed a few in the mix, but what they say is, how do you start a real transformation, not an agile transformation with a capital A, but a real transformation of your organization? And again, read the book. But they are there, and I think they make sense. And well, some might be easy, some might be difficult for you or for me, but it's really a good thing. So just Sooner, Safer, Happier. If you don't know what Sooner, Safer, Happier is all about, it's like patterns and anti-patterns for an agile way of working with a focus on sooner. So delivery time, how can we get faster? How can we really get agile? Safer, and he's always saying agile, not fragile. Don't talk agile, do agile, think that kind of thing. So really focus on how can we deliver small things continuously. Happier, you know, if you get a flow, a real flow, and you work together with leadership, and you don't have all this politics, which I think is nearly impossible, but at least it could be better. Happier colleagues, happier customers, probably happier climate, if you can do that too. Focusing on the quality, but in the middle is this value. We are not doing product, what was it, PAP? For a reason, for the fun of it, but we are doing it to focus on value, delivering value. Just some small things, because I want to show some things that really worked. As a learning culture, we really had fun. We had something called Willy Wortel Weken. I don't know if you know who Willy Wortel is, but Willy Wortel is Gyro Gearloose from Donald Duck, this inventor. And we did a whole week. And up front we said, people, just give us ideas on what we are going to work on. And for the whole week we worked on really cool stuff, like how can we implement machine learning, or how can we work with clusters, because they still had to do that. And some of these initiatives, we have a show and tell. What did you do last month? Can you just show them some cool stuff? They're still doing that every 2 weeks, which I really love. We did book clubs. Some of the community of practices are still there, some are not, but that's okay. If they don't work, skip them. So the learning culture, I think I can say I have something done there, which is really amazing, and I'm still in contact with some of the guys there, and they're still doing it. So that's great. DevOps mindset, and that's something that's going to be one of my next talks, the DORA metrics and the whole idea of the state of DevOps. I make like questionnaires on all these things, and with teams I'm just discussing, where do you think we should start on working next? And trying to start and finish is one of the things I'm doing there. But it's really, if you don't know, if you never read Accelerate, maybe you should read it before Sooner, Safer, Happier. But it's a really valuable source of information about how you can focus on teams delivering faster, better. Let's call it Sooner, Safer, Happier. Personal growth. Well, for me, it was one big adventure, because I didn't know anything about Team Topologies, and now I'm standing here a bit nervous, but well, I'm almost done, so that's fine. But also people, I really focused on people learning, and I saw some people really doing amazing stuff in the organization, which made me proud. And maybe I didn't help the organization, but at least I helped some persons, which is also very nice and maybe even more valuable. Platform engineering, we kind of changed something there, but I had to go. But one of the fun things I did is, let's do something different, because we have to go to the cloud, let's do mob programming. And they said, no, we are not going to do, why mob programming? We are just going to click a cluster and put it in production. So no, we are going to do infrastructure as code. And we have Willy Wortel Week coming up next week. So what we are going to do is, for the full week, we are going to do mob programming. And mob programming meaning one person is typing, the other people is helping in creating whatever we are creating, which is an Azure platform in Bicep. And we did it for 1 week, and we continued doing it every afternoon, not full day, every afternoon for 3 months. And then they had working clusters within 3 months in the cloud, which is really interesting, because then they really focused on, but we should see our clients as the developer teams are our clients. Yeah, of course. So you should go and ask them, what do you need? And show them, what did you do already? And people are thinking, what's happening here? And that's really what I really liked about doing platform engineering, and I still think if we had started there, maybe we had a better story at the end. But whatever, next time we can do it better. Just a little recap. one of the things I think is really important is find your allies. Like this grassroots thing, hitting the grass ceiling. I had a really good connection with Floris, but Floris somehow had the connection with the upper part, and I did not, and Floris left, and then it was like I was lost, and I didn't really have the allies again to focus on this. But I still shared ideas, and I cannot stop talking about books and knowledge and things, and that still helps. So I just kept doing things and experimenting and learning, and I think the most important thing is enjoy your job. And if you feel you don't enjoy it anymore, you really have to think about changing, which I finally kind of did, and now I'm doing something else. This is the recap, but I saw people taking pictures of this, so that's about it. I don't think we can do questions. We have 2 minutes, but I don't know if you have questions. Let me just quickly go to the last slide. I have sources and inspiration if you want to, but it's mainly Team Topologies book, Sooner, Safer, Happier book, Wiring the Winning Organization book, Accelerate book. Read these books and you know what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's 1 or 2 questions. I can answer 1 or 2 questions.